what is the meaning of actually joining a political party. It's not a decision I took lightly. And as someone who's studied and analyzed politics all their life, it was something for me of great importance. So I joined because I genuinely believe today that this is a party which captures the sentiments and interests and aspirations of India the best. And I get into other issues because, again, one of the differences, moving from bureaucracy, from a department or a service into politics, you learn so much more when you are a member of the cabinet. Your exposure. Every cabinet meeting, there are, let's say, 10 items. It could be on agriculture, could be on infrastructure, but you get a cabinet note. You read the note. You are interested. You will study a little bit more. So you actually your interest broaden, and if your interest broaden, when you go out there and speak to people, it'll show up.
Is there any difference in how Dr. Jaishankar, the diplomat, thought and operated, and how Dr. Jaishankar, the external affairs minister, politician, BJP worker, thinks and operates?
See, in a way, it's like different lives, Now, you got to understand the challenge that it was for me personally, because I am from a bureaucratic family. My father was a bureaucrat. I have an elder brother who was a bureaucrat. My grandfather was a bureaucrat, and we have aunts and not aunts but uncles who were there. So our world, if I can put it to you this way, was very, very bureaucratic. Our goals, our dreams were bureaucratic.
What do you mean by that?
Meaning, if you had asked me, if you and I had met, which we had, let us say in 2010, and say, okay, Jaishankar, what's your dream? I'd say, I want to become foreign secretary. That's the dream of any foreign service officer. In our house, it was also particularly, it was something we put.
No, you never said that.
No, because you never asked me.
It was in 1993, I think, that I first met you.
Hang on. You never asked me that bluntly, but had you asked me that, look, it's a reasonable dream to have. I mean, after all, when you, if you start a business or you do something, you want to be the best in it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Sure.
So, fine. I wanted to be the best foreign service officer. And to my mind, the definition of the best that you could do was to end up as a foreign secretary. Now, in our household, there was also, I would say, I won't call it pressure, but we were all very, very conscious of the fact that my father, who was a bureaucrat, had become a secretary, but he was removed from his secretaryship. He became, at that time, probably the youngest secretary in the Janta government in 1979.
For viewers and listeners who don't know, Dr. Jaishankar's father was Dr. K. Subramaniam, who played a key role in formulating India's strategic doctrine. Sorry for interrupting you.
So in 1980, he was Secretary Defence Production. In 1980, when Indira Gandhi was re-elected, he was the first secretary that she removed. And, he was the most knowledgeable person, everybody would say, on defense. He was also a very upright person. Maybe that caused a problem, I don't know. But the fact was, as a person, he saw his own bureaucratic career in bureaucracy actually kind of stall. And after that, he never became a secretary again. He was superseded during the Rajiv Gandhi period for his, somebody junior to him became cabinet secretary. So it was something he felt. We rarely spoke about it, but it was obviously something which must have been inside him. So he was very, very proud when my elder brother became secretary. In my case, he passed away in 2011. At that time, I had got what you would call grade 1, which is like a secretary rank ambassador. I didn't become secretary. I became after he passed away. But for us, at that time, the goal, you could say, was, okay, we must become secretary. Now, as I said, I had achieved that goal. So in 2018, I was very happy to kind of walk away into the sunset. I ended up finally walking not into the sunset, but into Tata Sons. I was, I think, contributing my fair bit there. I liked them. I think they liked me. Then completely as a bolt out of blue, the political opportunity came. Now, the political opportunity for me was something I needed to think about, because I was simply not prepared for it. So I did reflect on it briefly due to the pressures of time at that time. When you say what is the difference between the foreign secretary or the bureaucrat Jaishankar and the minister,
thought process,
it's a different world. It's a different responsibility. It's a wider vision. And I put it to people like this. I may have sat 40 years in the parliament gallery. It's not the same as being on the parliament floor. I used to sometimes, in fact, Sushma Swaraj was my minister, and as foreign secretary, we used to talk a lot. I mean, we had this practice. We used to have I'd go and see her every day, but of course, day would begin by her actually calling every morning. And I always had the comfort as a secretary. And if I don't want this to sound immodest, I was a confident secretary. I believe I was a good secretary. But I had the confidence that I have a minister and a prime minister above me who at the end of the day shoulder that political responsibility. Now, come May 2019, that political responsibility is mine. It's a completely different feeling. As a minister, you have to look at it not departmentally. There may be something, let us say, which is, I'm giving you an example. Say wheat export to some country. As a secretary, I would say, that country's relationship is very important. But as a minister, I'll have to say, okay, what's my own wheat prices looking like? What are the domestic concerns out there? Who else do we need to talk to? Every issue, every major issue has some political angle, which a minister will tend to see much faster than a bureaucrat, however good that bureaucrat may be.
So it's kind of challenging?
Yes, absolutely.
It is. Okay, so